Welcome back to another What We Ate in a Week. A very, very real life look at everything we bought for our family of 5 on a budget and exactly what we did with it to feed us through the week. We're getting the kids off to school and making lunches, and then I'm going to show you everything we bought to start with, and then we'll just go through the week together. You can be a fly on the wall and see how we make it work. This is my first go at online shopping for the new year, which is the way we have to go. All my kids are in school now, and so I don't want to use my time on my own to go to the shops. Much as I love it, that is not efficient. And I'm sad not to go around the shops anymore. I do love that little routine. It's been part of my parenthood journey to go around the shops with kids, and I like the local community thing of it, but it just doesn't work right now. It's not efficient. So we've got to move online. Waitrose is always controversial, but I went with Waitrose. A number of people online on kind of Reddit threads were saying Ocado and Waitrose are more expensive, but the produce lasts longer. Problem is, I did a Waitrose shop, and of the things I ordered, a number of things they just didn't have in stock that they said were in stock and then they just didn't arrive, and a number of other things came as a substitution, and I didn't want what they'd substituted it for, and that's not going to work for me. I will show you what we got. We will have to pick up a few extra things, but we have only spent, well, we're under 100. So we've got about 20-ish to go. So, okay, those were on special. So you can't get the clearance items online, but we got those. Honey, 2 things of cottage cheese. This is our friend's company, and they've recently got them in to Waitrose, so they were on special. So I got a couple of those. Sriracha, because we go through a ton of the price of this had actually gone down. Eggs, because our ducks are not laying eggs. And we've got peanut butter, but the almond butter just never arrived, which isn't great for someone with a peanut allergy. Rice, sugar, passata for pizza, milk for a mac and cheese, and maybe for some cereal. We've got no meat this week. We do have cheese. We'll talk about that at some point this week. And then an odd box. So I didn't mean to get this, but it is really great value for money. We've got cabbages, aubergines, tomatoes, lettuces, mangoes, mushrooms, carrots, apples, oranges, potatoes. Oh, there's also some kiwis that I forgot to put back in here. I put kiwis in the fridge. Leeks. There we go. Last few things. I've got frozen peas because they're just really easy for throwing in dinners and things. And then I do like to go organic wherever we can, especially on fruits and veg. I don't like doing a ton of plastic, but I'm trying to get more fruit in our breakfasts. They had these on special, and I bought a ton, but we'll save some for next week. So this will be spent this week that goes into other weeks. And Jared grabbed croissants when he was actually in Waitrose, grabbing a coffee, so we can pull those out for him with a coffee sometimes. And lastly, weird splurge, but they had this on sale and I was like, I'm gonna try it. Extra little bit of protein on my yogurt. We'll see what that is like. It's got a bit of that stevia taste.
What are you eating?
Okay. Jared's gonna try. I just bought it to like put on my yogurt and give a crunch to my yogurt with lots of protein.
I know what you mean. It
It's
has
a
a bit of
stevia
that,
taste. I think it must have
big sugar taste, but
stevia.
it really could be worse.
Jared and I both work from home most of the time, and so we have little working lunch dates. Now that our kids are in school and we love them, they are usually either leftovers from the night before or an omelette. Today he's having an omelette and I am having some cottage cheese on toast with peas and a lot of sriracha, and then coffee and a little treat. It's a club marathon day, so Jared's got dinner started. I'm coming in. I'm gonna take over.
Yay! A third organic block. And then plum.
Tonight's dinner is a big veggie mac and cheese. So we're making the sauce from scratch. In England, if you're not from England and you're from America, we don't have boxed mac and cheese. It is always made from scratch if you're going to have mac and cheese. So we've used 1/3 of a block of vegan butter and then about 1/2 cup of flour, enough to just make it into a paste. And then I'm slowly adding milk as I cook that on a low heat. I ended up using about 1 litre of milk, but I always just eyeball this. Then we're just going to add in cheese to taste. You can use a ton or you can use less, but obviously it becomes a more budget-friendly meal with a little less cheese. And I find that with enough salt and maybe a bit of garlic, you can make a really flavorful sauce that doesn't have to be really, really cheesy, which then keeps it more budget-friendly. But we're popping that in there to taste, making a delicious creamy sauce. You can see it's a little bit brown because I do use whole wheat flour everywhere that we can to keep the fiber content of our food as high as possible. We've got whole wheat pasta as well. And that is our dinner. I've added in broccoli and cauliflower. The kids ate, we ate, and then my son came home from Cubs. He's always starving when he comes home, so he loaded the rest up with hot sauce and finished that off. My breakfast to go: blueberries, yogurt, chocolate peanut butter. We've run to Waitrose en route to a kids party to grab the things that they didn't bring in my delivery, so obviously I'm getting a coffee as well, and breakfast on the go because it was an early start. Spent another £11, which is the rest of all that we spent this week, getting organic lentils, kidney beans, cocoa, and then salt, which is actually not for eating, but we grabbed that as well. And the coffee was a free coffee, so we don't really use our budget to eat out. The coffee was a free supermarket coffee. Right, we're home from the party, which wasn't a party. I got everyone out of bed and got the party on the wrong day. Now we're gonna make some lunch: red lentil soup, flatbreads. I'm gonna clean the kitchen because it's a mess from breakfast. I love the idea of cleaning up as we go along, but like sometimes we just run out of the house because that's the schedule and we're left with mess. So we're gonna reset and then cook. We are gonna use these lentils to make one of my favorites, our family favorite, high protein, very frugal vegan meal that actually comes together really quickly. So this is one we use about once a week. When you break down our monthly budget of £500, which I think is a really helpful thing to do to know your numbers, our meal budget per meal is about £6 to £7. The red lentils to feed our family with a soup are £2.40. And then if we add a loaf of bread, that is just under a pound made from scratch. And then we can add some foraged greens and you get an under £4 meal to feed our family. So it's really helpful for me just to know which are the ones that are extra frugal and which ones are a little bit more expensive to help build a meal plan that actually stays on budget. I find that information really helpful. And red lentil soup is one of the winning meals that we love, but is also really budget friendly. While the lentils were cooking, I'm throwing in some Marmite for flavor, the ends of the Marmite jars, just using them really as stock. We're also making, you saw there, some cookies by cooking down some fruit that hadn't been eaten, some persimmons and some pears, into a fruit paste. We're also making flatbreads. The fruit paste is going to go into the cookies in place of sugar. We absolutely use sugar, but because we had that fruit that no one had eaten, I thought, wait, I can use this up in a chocolate cookie. That's it. Well done. Rub them together like that and it should all come off. Good job. Well done. These flatbreads are a really quick and easy one to put together. I will drop the recipe below, and they are great if you don't have bread and just need something at the last moment. They don't use yeast, so they come together really quickly, and then we will pair them like this with our soup and a flatbread, or eggs and flatbread, or curry and flatbread. They're just a great recipe to have on hand. You can also make them into more of a tortilla for tacos, and that was our lunch, a really high protein, vegan, incredibly frugal meal. I probably should have melted that. The persimmon and pear chocolate cookies are in the oven. I just used the regular recipe I use and substituted that in. The rest of the lentil soup is going in the fridge, and we're going to make coffee and sit down and eat those cookies. We always have an hour of quiet adult time after lunch at the weekend. it's been a routine since the kids were little. They'll read a book, we'll have coffee, and it kind of resets everyone for the day. I don't think we will ever let go of that routine. There are the cookies. Usually at the weekend, after quiet time, the kids will have some showtime and have some kind of sweet treat, something. Today they had been given these hot chocolate stirrer sticks with marshmallows, and so we heated up some milk for them, and then I had some leftover marshmallows that I made for the kids' birthdays last year. They keep really well. They're actually surprisingly easy to make. I do not make them with a candy thermometer because I don't have one of those. I will link the recipe that I've used below and note how I adjusted it for not having a candy thermometer, but I made them then with grass-fed organic gelatin and honey instead of fully with sugar and corn syrup, and you wouldn't know the difference. They are great. We love them. So the kids had those, and now we are on to our Saturday night routine of making pizza. This is an every single week family tradition that we love. In one of my January vlogs, I showed a reduced clearance pizza at the supermarket that was £3 something on clearance. And I said that is actually still more money than we would spend on a pizza in the clearance section if we were going to buy pizzas to make at home for the family. And someone asked, what price would make you buy a pizza on clearance? And it all comes back to me to how much it costs to make a pizza at home and knowing the budget that we have for each meal. So these pizzas cost us less than £1 to make from scratch. We've got our bulk organic flour, a bottle of organic passata, which is a bit under £2 and makes about 10 pizzas, and then just the cheese to go on top. And we probably use about £3 to £4 worth of cheese. So we can make the 7 to 8 pizzas it takes to feed our family for the cost of buying about 2 pizzas from the shops, even if they were yellow sticker ones on clearance. So that's why when I'm looking at those numbers, it can seem really appealing because they're on clearance, but actually because I know the numbers, I know that is actually not that cost efficient. Now, would I sometimes buy that if we were in a pinch? We needed a meal or something like that? Absolutely. I could buy it for maybe us for dinner. But it isn't an effective way to feed the family. And I find having those numbers to hand really helps. So I will link a couple of videos below that talk more about costing out meals and things like that, because I think it is really valuable information that helps us practically stay on budget each week. Another routine we love is weekend waffles, and you can see our very used, broken waffle maker. People often ask me which one I recommend, and honestly, it's not this one. I really like the cast iron waffle makers. We had one of those for years and sold it when we moved and had an induction stove. I didn't think we could use it on an induction stove, so we brought this Breville ceramic one. It does work really well, but I just love that the cast iron ones live forever. They don't create any electrical waste, so that would be my top pick, but I do like this Breville ceramic one. We all love the routine of Saturday waffles. When I'm feeling more tired, we will make the batter the night before and put it in the fridge so we can just wake up, plug the waffle iron in, and it's really easy morning, but it kind of gives a little punctuation to the week. It's a little thing in the week we can all look forward to, and I love having those rhythms in there that everyone knows are coming. We have a community fridge that we go to sometimes, and Jared went this morning, and look at this. The mother load. We're going to get some food prep done, Sunday night food prep. I've got to make some bread for the week. Then I'm going to try and use a lot of old veggies to make a kind of lentil veggie lasagna with things that no one would want to eat if they knew what they were eating. Haven't done that before. That's a new one. Going to try that. Then I'm going to make some smoothies for kids now. What else am I going to make? I think that's actually it. Okay. I didn't meal plan well enough this week. I just kind of bought food in, so now I need to look at what we have left and really meal plan to be strategic to use food best for the rest of the week. So we're going to do that as well. This is the food we're going to work with: tomatoes, mushrooms. I'm going to roast these, peppers, a bit of celery. We're going to cook it down with lentils and try and make something delicious. think food waste is a huge thing that people don't really talk about in the mix of thinking about what way of eating is the most sustainable. And people will argue about vegan versus local and grass-fed or only eating chicken. And food waste is a massive thing that regardless of how we eat, it's already so good. Regardless of how we eat, if we can stop wasting any food, we can contribute hugely to being more sustainable with the way that we eat. 1/3 of the food that is grown on the planet, shocking statistic, but it is true, 1/3 is actually wasted, which means that that food often goes to landfill, creating negative effects through the gases that are given off there, but also all the water, all the power, all the human labor, all the transport has also all gone to waste. So if we can buy our food in ways that create less waste, which for us is doing a veg box, using an odd box, using the community fridge, and then not create more food in our kitchen, then regardless of the way that we choose to eat, we can all be considerably more sustainable with our food. And as a bonus, we can save a ton of money. The average UK family wastes £80 worth of food a month. Now, I can feed a family of 4 and £80 for a week, which means every month there is a free week of eating available to the average UK family if they learned how to not waste food. So that is a huge, huge thing that we think about in our kitchen. And our food prep is done. We have made rolls. We've made the base for a veggie lasagna using what would definitely have gone to waste. We've cooked beans and we have made smoothies. The boys came home from playing sports and downed a whole bunch of rolls, but the rest are going away to use through the week. It is Monday morning and back to routine of school and work and very early station drop-offs, but we have our food prepped. So everyone is having these squidgy rolls. I will pop the recipe link below for breakfast, and then I am filling them with cheese and Marmite for everyone's school lunches. This is what school meals look like most days. For my kids, a sandwich, fruit, and then some kind of little dessert. They have free school meals until they're 7, and then they cost about £3 per person per day. My youngest has them about once a week. My oldest actually don't love them, so they just do packed lunches. Recently, I'm eating my breakfast once everyone has dropped at school, so I'm making another coffee and then putting a quick breakfast together. I'm going to just do some yogurt, nut butter and blueberries. Let's get to work. Making some lunch. Here we've got the veggies that I cooked yesterday. We're going to put them into a kind of lasagna-y thing for tomorrow. And then in here, I chopped an onion and threw it in with all my beans, which will be beans and rice. For lunch, I'm making some very quick organic frozen peas and cottage cheese with leaves and sriracha to get my protein in. I did end up cooking all of those veggies with lentils. I pureed the veggies and then had just the texture from the lentils, and I made them into a lasagna with penne pasta, so not lasagna, and then cheese sauce on top. And the footage did not record properly, so it doesn't come into this video, but everyone loved it. I never thought that it would go down with like real joy, but then I brought it out for a second night and everyone was so excited to have it, so I will definitely repeat that one. I'm going to put this rice in to soak so that it is ready for an easy dinner. There. Ooh. So then all we have to do when we come home from school is cook rice. We're going to make a quick slaw. I will show you how I put it together. I just ate chocolate and it's really dark and it's cloyy in my mouth, but it's very happy. Okay, we're gonna run and do school, club 1, club 2, come home, make dinner, do a station pickup. If you have watched any of these videos before, you know there's some kind of veggie slaw is one of our go-to ways for getting vegetables in. Everyone just will eat so many vegetables this way, and it is a great way to eat the cheaper vegetables like cabbage and carrots. We're also whipping up some banana muffins with those frozen bananas from the community fridge. Honestly, I wish I could show you sometime how many bananas are sometimes there. It's unbelievable. When you look up the stats of how many bananas are wasted in the UK, it's kind of mind-blowing. So I'm glad that some have gone in here. And then this is our dinner. We've got that really simple slaw. I just used some yogurt, mayo, vinegar and salt to make a really simple dressing. And then we've got the slow cooked beans, rice, and that is everyone's dinner. One of the things I struggle with is getting fruit or veg in everyone at breakfast. Today we're having some rolls with a homemade chocolate spread, just peanut butter, honey, some kind of oil or butter, and some fairtrade cocoa. And then lunch, we've got loads of mango going in lunches today. This came from the Odd Box. That sandwich there was going to be thrown out at Jared's office, so he brought it home for one of the kids to have for lunch. So they get a lot of fruit and veg in. You can see this kid is taking a ton of mango, but getting it in at breakfast I find really hard. We tend to save smoothies for other points in the day, and they will not have any kind of berries on oatmeal or anything like that. They would just skip a meal if I made oatmeal for breakfast. I don't know why. And so sometimes they'll have some sliced apple or grab an orange, but for the most part, breakfast is not where we get a lot of fruit or veg. And maybe I just need to leave it knowing they do get their 5 in each day. Here we're going for smoothies in the afternoon. And maybe breakfast is just not our spot for doing that. But I feel like I see people feed their kids beautiful oatmeal bowls with fruit in, and it just doesn't happen in our family. So we prioritize it at other points of the day. We've got blueberries and cocoa and bananas and yogurt in this smoothie today because we have clubs, and so dinner will be late. One of my kids was still really hungry, so I cooked up some potatoes and gave them some beans ahead of going to clubs, and then made some salad, and then we did more beans and rice for dinner. I always talk about how we don't snack, but if a kid is really hungry and needs food, they absolutely get food. It's more of just not having a routine of mindlessly snacking and sticking to meals. But obviously within that, we're all human, and sometimes they're growing or they're just hungry and they need food. So then we'll just find something that's more like real food, like beans and potatoes, rather than reaching for a packaged snack, which really helps the budget. And I think also helps them to really know their appetites when it's something more simple that they get if they're hungry. This morning before school, we're making pancakes. I think one of the kids persuaded me to make chocolate pancakes, and we had some leftover chocolate from Christmas. That's what went in the cookies, and then also what will go in these pancakes. We often do some kind of cooked breakfast, not cooked like eggs and bacon, but cooked like waffles or pancakes in the morning, and it does take extra time. But I really love doing it over cereal or something quick because it brings us all together in the morning. We all meet in the kitchen and we don't have that long before everyone has to be to school. And sometimes it's a bit of a rush, but I love that while they're cooking, it's this moment where we all kind of sit around and talk about the day and have a family moment together. In the rush of life, sometimes those can feel like they don't happen very often. So even though it would be much easier to throw cereal on the table, I really like the routine of all meeting in the kitchen and having that family moment together before everyone goes off to school. We're gonna go cappuccino. Once everyone is at school, though, this is really often our routine. We grab a coffee and go to the library. This actually crosses over with when I filmed a vlog about going back to university and how I'm fitting those study hours into my week. So I'll drop that below if you want to watch that, but you might notice a few of those clips or from that one if you watched it too. And we're back making our omelettes. Jared is a couple of days a week in London, but today is the day he's home, and so this is our routine. I need our ducks to go back to laying eggs again. I don't know why they have stopped. We've got to figure it out, but for now it is store-bought eggs and cottage cheese. I'm eating the leftovers of that lentil soup, which is now a few days old, but it's delicious and full of protein, for my lunch, again with a ton of sriracha. Every bit of leftovers gets used in this house. Sometimes there's not enough for a full meal, but then just one person will have the leftovers because it all adds up and saves us a ton of money.
The first time we went, I like it.
Okay.
Can I do it?
Can you do what? To maybe chop the bananas? They might be a bit big. Banana, blueberry, yogurt. We'll put some peanut butter in after we take Dad's bit out. And we're back to food shop day. I am trying another Waitrose shop. We'll see how that goes. We've got another veg box arriving. We started the day with waffles. I tried to sneak in some blueberries. It didn't go so well. They ate them. They don't love them. We'll keep trying or we'll give up. I don't know. Then everyone took the usual cheese sandwiches and fruit to school for lunch. And we finished the day with that veggie and lentil lasagna where the camera didn't record properly. I wish I could show you because it was just such a surprising hit. You can, of course, hit subscribe. If you want more videos like this, I will drop a couple more on the screen for you. And I will see you in another video sometime soon. Thanks for joining.